We're live.
Hi folks, this is Dr. Paul. It is my official first ever live stream. I haven't a clue what's going to happen, so apparently you guys are going to ask me questions.
Ayana White says hi.
Liana?
Ayana White says hi.
Hi Ayana. So my very first ever live stream viewer.
Bunch of people saying hi.
Everybody's
Too fast.
saying hi?
Too fast to even count.
Fast? Oh my gosh.
Captain, hi, Dr. Paul. Emily Briggs, hi.
Hi everybody.
Cheyenne,
I have
the
Noah
one.
reading. Big No-No is reading this stuff to me. We thought we'd try it that way.
So you better pick a There's 265 people instantly
What?
tuned in.
265 people are tuned in. What do I talk about?
Whatever you want.
Whatever I want? Oh my goodness. Well, let me tell you something. Some of you may have heard of vaccinepapers.org. The guy that runs that website, his name is Dan. He comes from, I think it's West Virginia. He was in town and says, I want to meet up with you. Taught me how you can make, well, I'm in the process of learning, how to make your own very potent probiotics. So heals chronic inflammation, heals the gut. It's something I'll obviously do a video about in the near future. But that was top of my mind because I just came from having a meeting with him at my office. So some interesting stuff. We're always going to be throwing some new things at you.
Okay, I'm going to jump in real quick.
Jump in.
Okay. What's going on, guys? It's Noah, Big No-No, Dr. Paul's producer, his son. I just want to quickly say there are so many. I've never done a live stream with a channel the size of his. We have a lot of people watching and we're grateful. It's almost impossible to even read what you're saying. So the idea was I was going to get behind the camera and I would just let him know when comments came up and he could answer questions. But there's so many. I don't even know if you know about this, but there's something called Super Chat. So there's an option. If you guys know how to use it, if someone wants to cough up $1 and show other people how it works, it'll show this man how it works. I think the only way we're going to be able to truly field your questions, because we're grateful you're here, is if you use the Super Chat function. That'll put your question in a highlighted color at the top. It'll hold it there and freeze it there. And we will have to give priority to those because it helps support the channel. And it might be the only way to slow this thing down. But otherwise, we'll just go over topics. I'll try to catch little questions. And we'll do our best.
All right, go see what's rolling.
Let's see what's rolling.
Okay, I guess we're doing Super Chat if you can, if you know what that is.
But let me try to hit you with a question. How do you know if red bumps are hives?
Hives are generally slightly raised red bumps and they have an irregular outline. Can be tiny, like a nickel-sized, or it can be just huge, massive, involving big parts of your arm or body.
Okay. Ali Garcia wants to know what you like.
What I like? Like, I like to ride motorcycles to relax. I like sushi if I'm going to eat out. And I like my job. I mean, I love my career.
Awesome. Amanda Halliday says, how can you up milk supply when you're trying to breastfeed? Thank you, Amanda.
Okay, great. You want to make sure you're not stressed. You're eating plenty of calories. You're drinking plenty of fluids. And you're getting enough stimulation. So if you've got a good latch, just feed more often. And that helps the stimulation part. But you got to be drinking plenty of fluids and eating enough calories as well.
Awesome. Why do you like... Okay, Minecraft Daycare Rules Perez asks, why do you like your job?
Oh, my goodness. When I was in medical school, I rotated through adult rotations, and it was like, You know, adults, there's a lot of adults watching. When you go to the doctor, how honest are you? Not so much, right? Do I drink? Hardly ever. Am I smoking? No, I would never do that. I got to pediatrics, and kids are just plain honest, and I happen to enjoy kids. I mean, I love getting a smile, and it's easy to get a smile. I'm a smiley kind of guy anyway, so just all day long, it's just uplifting and positive. It's a great career.
Savannah Lynn wants to know, what is your worst patient ever?
Worst patient ever? Huh. I don't have bad patients. It's like, okay, every once in a while, I would say I get frustrated. So maybe the most frustrating thing is when I have... So many of you know I wrote the book, The Vaccine Friendly Plan. And obviously, there's controversy around that issue. What's most difficult is when I have a mom and a dad and they're on totally opposite pages. And when I try to give them information, they're at each other, right? So I just can't seem to get anywhere. There's no harmony. As parents, you got to work together.
All right. So Caitlin Smith would like to know, how do you treat a wound if you got stabbed with a stick?
So puncture wounds, are one of the rare times where you have to worry about tetanus. Tetanus is very rare in this country, but when you have a deep, dirty puncture wound, that's what they call anaerobic. There's not enough oxygen and the tetanus organism grows. So you want to flush that as best as you can, scrub it hard, flush it with sterile saline, and then watch very closely for infection. If you haven't had a tetanus booster and you can handle vaccinations, that might be a time to get that vaccine right away. And probably you're going to leave that wound to heal on its own without suturing it shut. Because if you close a dirty wound, then you get an abscess.
I may have forgotten to enable super chat on our channel.
Oh,
Shall
we do it?
Restart?
Sure. Tell them we're going to restart in a moment.
So guys...
So, my producer just says he may have not...
Nope, it's up. Natasha Hamburg. Natasha Heimberg just donated $1 to the channel.
Thanks, Natasha.
Thank you so much, Natasha.
As far as we know, it's our first super chat.
And she didn't write anything. She just donated $1.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for making it. We weren't sure it was working.
We weren't sure it was working.
That's great. Appreciate that.
It's really exciting. Thank you, Natasha. Oh. Here we go. Okay. So... Giuseppe Vaccaro asks, was it hard to earn your degree to become a pediatrician?
Getting into medical school was rough, okay?
Hold on. Minecraft Daycare Rules Prez just donated $1. So we want to say thank you.
Minecraft, Prez.
We'll always show them
Absolutely.
love.
So was it hard to be a doctor, right? That was the question. It was very hard to get in. I tried actually for 3 years, got a master's, I was teaching, took extra classes to retake my MCAT. Just keep after your dream. If that's your dream and you really want it, work harder and harder and harder and just keep building your portfolio.
Awesome. Sweet Mouse Glam says, listen, if you have a bug bite with fluids gushing out.
Yep, let them gush out.
Madison Edens just donated $1.
Thanks for the donations.
Thank you so much. Guys, remember, remind them they can leave a question when they donate $1. The last 3 people haven't left any questions, so we'll prioritize.
I guess if you're donating, you can leave a question, and that puts your question to the top.
Yeah, and we'll prioritize that. We sure appreciate the support. Otherwise, guys, I'm literally just pausing the screen after he finishes talking, and then I'm just selecting the first one I see. So I'm doing my best to pick them at random as fast as I can.
You can also put your finger up when you got one, and then I'll stop rambling.
Oh, gotcha. For a question or a donation?
Well, either.
Gotcha. Pink Septicai 101 Unbear Club. Asks, what was your first job?
My very first job, I was 14 or 15, living in Africa. We came back to the United States for 3 months, and nobody said I could get a job in the Bay Area.
Danny Plays just donated $1.
Thank you, Danny. So I'm in the Bay Area near Richmond, California, across the bay from San Francisco. I go door to door looking for work. I worked washing dishes in a Mexican restaurant. Dirty spoon, bent over. That was my first real official get paid job. $1.65 an hour.
Hater Universe just donated to the channel.
Haters.
Hater Universe.
Oh, hater.
They say their whole name. Some
Thank
people
you.
just want to hear you say their name out loud.
Thank you, hater.
Universe.
Universe.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Colby O'Brien, where did you go to college?
I went to the University of the Pacific in Stockton, California for a BA and a
Oh,
master's.
stop.
Yes.
We just got a $120 donation.
$120 donation.
Dean Gregory just donated $120, and he would like... Oh my gosh.
That blows my mind. Thank you so much for supporting the channel.
Oh, wow. How many ear removals... He has a question. Thank you for adding your question, Dean. That's, like, mind-blowing. How many earwax removals do you think you've done in your career to date?
Oh, in my career? Wow. I think in my office, I do earwax removals every week, sometimes several times a week. Sometimes my nurses are doing it, and sometimes I'm doing it myself. So add that up over 30 years. I don't know. Let's do the math. 50 weeks average that you're working. If it was 1 a week, that's 50 times 30 years. What are we at? Over 1,000? Plenty.
Dean Gregory, say thank you one more time.
Thanks, Dean. That was amazing, and thank you so much for the donation. Big Nono, who's been producing this channel, has been working hard for a very long time, for the first 3 years with basically no income. So we're both very grateful. Thank you. My producer's looking puzzled. Are you having trouble reading, son?
No, hold on. Tracy Emery donated $2 and asks any advice for ODD, oppositional defiant disorder.
Yes. So
say thank you.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Right? Yeah. Thank you so much, Tracy. You know, I laugh about that one because if you're a kid like I was, I'm sure I was oppositional. And in my day, when I was a kid in Africa, there was no disorder. I was just that kind of high energy oppositional kid, like the Terrible Twos maybe, that just carried on a while. But in the United States, we put labels, especially the world of psychiatry. It's all a bunch of labels. And what was the question? Sorry, how to treat it?
I'll go back to it. I was scrolling for my next one. No, it's okay. Any advice on ODD? Just any advice in general?
You know, it depends on the age. If you're dealing with a preschooler, redirect. You just redirect them to something that might interest them, and they can kind of let go of that defiance thing. If you're dealing with a teenager, or if it's your spouse, and there's that conflict, right? Maybe an argument or defiance. You know, a trick I learned that works pretty darn well is you touch them on their shoulder, or just say, you may be right. Because here you are in conflict, right? Oppositional. And, you know, everybody's got a point. You may be...
Oh my God, it disconnected our live stream. Jesus Christ. We're back live. Let people know. Sorry for a disconnection.
Oh, sorry, folks. This is our first time doing this. Somehow we disconnected from the live stream. I guess we're back.
About a Mother donated $2.
About a Mother. Thank you very much.
And she would like to know, what's ASD?
Autism spectrum disorder. There's also atrial defect.
Play this cool. Vaccines on a younger sibling when older is on the spectrum?
Don't do it. So, of course, the CDC says the vaccine schedule is the schedule for everybody. No exceptions. The data from my practice, folks, shows that if you have autism in your family, ASD, there are several other autoimmune conditions. You are at much higher risk for having another child on the spectrum. Absolutely. If it was my kid, that's the best way I can give you advice is, doctor, what would you do if it was your kid? I wouldn't do any vaccines if you have high risk in your family, anywhere in the family.
Tiffany Herbst donates $5.
Thank you, Tiffany.
She said your front desk staff said that you are only seeing sick patients and no longer doing well visits. Any particular reason?
So it's been a little tricky since the book came out. I have such a demand for my time. I have an amazing team who can do the well visits. They are trained by me. They are all on the same page basically with vaccines, and I'm there most of the time anyway to consult with them if there's any questions. So I have my team take care of all the routine care, which we would normally call well child visits. That frees me up to see the complicated cases, autism spectrum, autoimmune conditions, you name it. I'm more available to the most needy this way. I do see all my own newborns. I go to the hospital and usually see the newborns who are in the hospital unless I'm not available. I do the first well baby checks. I do the 2-week checks. Make sure the family's plugged in. But if you're a new patient with an older child wanting a well child visit, just get in the practice and then you'll be happy.
Heather Jones donated $2.
Thank you, Heather.
Son survived HSV-1. ND doctor trying to push vaccines. You can answer these as casual.
The interesting thing about naturopaths, I have a lot of very close friends who are naturopaths. The current change that has just happened this past year in naturopathic colleges is they are now pushing the CDC schedule. What they're trying to do is legitimize naturopaths as on par with MDs and DOs. And to do that, I guess they had to sell out on the vaccine issue. So that's what's going on. They're under a lot of pressure to push vaccines. I know that most naturopaths, certainly all the naturopaths I know, generally do not like the CDC schedule, and many of them don't like vaccines at all. So that's just politics and money.
Celeste Bird just donated $5 to the channel.
Thank you, Celeste.
And all she wants to say is that my grandson wants to be a werewolf. Help! He's 11.
Let him have at it. He'll come around. He'll come around. My son wanted to be a YouTuber, and look how he turned out.
There you go. You're hilarious. Okay, Jacob D6 just donated $2 to the channel.
Thank you, 6 Jacob.
And he'd like to know, D6, he'd like to know, why does abdominal pain sometimes suddenly go away?
Oh my goodness. Well, abdominal pain is one of those things you ask doctors and the patient comes in with abdominal pain. The list is a mile long of possible things that cause it. And of course, most of these things resolve on their own. If you have an infection, it's going to go away on its own, etc. If you have appendicitis, you need to get that dealt with right away. So that's why doctors always deal with abdominal pain it's an acute thing. If it's severe, you need to be seen. If you're of a childbearing age and you're sexually active, you could be pregnant, and it could be that the pregnancy is in the fallopian tube, not in the uterus. That can also be an emergency. So this is why doctors take abdominal pain very seriously, but 99.9% of the time, it's something relatively minor that will go away on its own.
Vieri Hernandez says, I like to watch when you freeze warts or pop things.
You and a lot of other people. It's interesting, our channel, I started off not knowing what I was doing as far as what the public was interested in, and doing a lot of teaching and talking videos. Not that they have no value, but they're just not as entertaining. And obviously the wart freezing and the popping things has greater entertainment value. You're definitely not alone.
We got a $5 donation from Saeed BJJ.
Thank you, Saeed BJJ.
And he'd like to know what you recommend for acne.
Acne, that's a stubborn one. So of course we know that acne is worst when our hormones are spiking in puberty, sometimes into the 20s. If you're on testosterone replacement therapy, that makes acne worse. High testosterone makes acne worse. If you eat a very high sugar, high junk food diet, that supports and feeds the bacteria. So the first thing you can do is eat a really healthy, food-based, lots of fruits and vegetables diet. The second thing I would say is really keeping good skin care, but it's not that acne is caused by dirt, it's a bacteria. But you know, keeping the bacteria off your face as best as you can with good face washing. Benzoyl peroxide is an over-the-counter thing you can use. In really severe cases, you may need help with a doctor.
Sarah Plone says, I want to be a doctor, and I'm 8 years old.
Yay, Sarah, go for it. I think if you just stick to it, work hard, and yeah, follow your dream. It's a great profession.
Flickity Flick 1 says, good morning from Australia.
Yay, Australia! Flickity Flick 1. Flickity Flick 1. That's a good one. I like that.
Steph L wants to know, have you ever seen anyone with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome?
I sure have.
She says, I have this.
Yes, I've seen. I have a couple families in my practice who have that. It's one of those genetic things. Oftentimes, if you have it, you have other family members who may. Real lax joints, flexible.
Awesome. Just welcome new people to the live stream.
So I want to welcome new folks to the live stream. This is my very first live stream, so we're in this together. I'm kind of having fun with this. My producer, Big Nono, is reading the comments as best as he can, and so there he is. That's my boy. He used to be just a little fella, and now he's big. You know, when we called him Nono, he was. It wasn't because we were always telling him no. That's what the teachers thought, and he wasn't big, but he got that way. So now it fits. Big Nono.
Just remind them. If you use the super chat function, your comments do stand out and it's easy for us to find them.
So I'm told, this is all new to me, you can use the super chat function and that brings your comment right to the top. It's, you know, he's trying to scroll real hard and I guess there's hundreds and hundreds of comments coming in. So if we're not responding to them, that's because of that rapid pace.
Arun Haresh Belani says, hello from Chile, South America.
Chile! I want to go to Chile someday. I've heard it's a beautiful country. I just see on the map it's like that right down the entire continent. It's got to be amazing.
Aunt Queen says, hello, Dr. Paul. Much greetings from the Netherlands.
From the Netherlands. Thanks, Aunt Queens. It's so amazing that we're connected. I always used to call it YouTube land. So kind of connecting the whole world. It's amazing. Powerful tool.
All right. Do you know what NF1 is?
NF1? Mm-hmm.
So Isabel would like to know if you've ever dealt with NF1. She has it, and she says she's a genetic mutation.
Yeah, neurofibromatosis, I imagine, is what you're talking about. There is an NF factor as well, that I don't think that's what you mean. I have dealt with this. There's variations, huge variations in severity of what people are dealing with. So obviously I can't get into your specifics, but I wish you the very best.
Ride BMX says good night from the UK.
All right, good night to Ride BMX.
Eduardo Mauser says hello from Mexico.
Hey, Eduardo.
Hey, why don't you flex on him a little bit, Dad, and show him you got some Spanish in you?
Español. ¿Quiere hablar un poquito de español?
That's good. Dean Gregory just donated another $100.
Dean Gregory, come on. That's so amazing. I'm humbled, and if you can see the expression, bring that expression over here. Just bring that expression over here. It says 1,000 words. This is the expression he's giving me. He's like, whoa. Yeah. So this is my producer, Big No-No. He's worked his butt off for 5+ years on this channel, and it's so nice to have that he's seeing this being recognized. Was there a question?
Yeah. Dr. Paul, what is the best way to remove skin tags? Liquid nitrogen, question mark? Does that leave scars, question mark?
So the skin tags, if you can tie them off. So imagine my little pinky here is a skin tag.
Take your time on this.
If I can get a suture material around the base of it, as long as the base is thin, because a lot of times skin tags are fairly thin around the base, like 1 millimeter. You can take a suture material and cinch it down. You just cinch it down to where it cuts off the blood supply, but not so tight that you rip right through the tissue. It'll turn black because it no longer has blood supply and drop off. So that's usually the best way to do skin tags, unless it's really thick at the base, in which case you're probably going to have a surgeon actually cut out the skin tag and then suture it back together. Generally, it's not a liquid nitrogen thing. I don't think that would be the best way to go for a skin tag.
So we're getting some feedback that they can hear me incredible and can't hear you all that well.
Oh,
can we get you?
You're so close to the phone.
Can we get you to scoot a little closer to the phone?
Yeah.
Or even like hop on the stool and replace that real quick or something. I want people to be able to hear you much better than they worry about hearing me.
Let's see. It's good feedback. Let's see. How are we doing now?
Now you're perfect.
Okay.
Now you're.
Hopefully we can hear me better.
There's no way they can.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just freaking blown away by that. Amen Yihun simply donated $2.
Amen Yihan. Thank you very much. It's really humbling that people are supporting the channel. This is sort of a piece that was missing, I think, for Big No-No and all the hard work he's been doing. So,
well, we've been doing.
Yeah, we've been doing. All right. All right. You know, it's the editing, though. If anybody out there is also doing YouTube, you know it's the editing that's the hard work.
It's the type, at least. Barb P just donated $5, and she has a question for us.
Thank you, Barb P.
Body odor smells like ammonia, and deodorant only works for about an hour. What should I do?
The body odor thing. I have a real body odor problem if I don't use antiperspirant, and I know I'm not supposed to do it. It has aluminum, and aluminum's bad for you. I've tried multiple different deodorant type, products. They don't work for me. So I've had to go to the aluminum products, and what I'm doing, this may or may not be adequate, but silica is the best way to bind and excrete and get rid of aluminum. So my compromise is I do use a tiny bit of an underarm aluminum containing antiperspirant, and then I drink water. Fiji water happens to be, and I'm not sponsoring Fiji water. Fiji water, you ought to give me a thumbs up and sponsor me or something. Anyway, they're very high silica content. So you can either take a little extra silica or there are a couple other brands. When I did my research, they were more expensive. I found Fiji water. I like the taste anyway, and it's relatively affordable. As my compromise to get rid of the aluminum I might be absorbing from my antiperspirant.
Side BJJ just donated $5.
Thank you, Side BJJ.
And he says, what book do you recommend for the human body? And also, do you like Elvis Presley?
I ain't nothing but a hound dog. No. Was that Elvis?
Oh, yeah.
That was Elvis. Okay. My wife's grandmother used to say, Elvis? Yeah, I don't listen to a lot of Elvis, but yeah, man, the guy's a genius, right? And the question was, what book do I like about the human body?
And what book can you recommend for the human body?
The human body.
I think you can take that as to mean wellness and not just anatomy.
Boy, that's a tough one. You know, in medical school, it was gross anatomy, and there was Grant's Atlas of Gross Anatomy, but that's not an easy read. It's more of a reference book, and so for that purpose, I'm not sure. I know there was Dr. Nettler did the illustrated guides of the human body. Those are amazing with the artwork that outline all of that stuff. If you want to look at great pictures from the doctor who was an illustrator. Otherwise, yeah, I think I'd have to know for what purpose you were asking the question.
BF4F just donated $5 to the channel.
Thank you, BF4F.
And has a question for you. Hi, Dr. Paul. I'm from Virginia. I've had a headache, stiff neck, cough, and a sore throat.
Okay. So if you're let's be an adult. Problem.
And always do general answers.
If your chin cannot go to your chest, in other words, you have a stiff neck in that way, so you cannot do this, you got to get to the hospital. That could be meningitis. However, when you have a sore throat, sometimes your muscles and everything, you can do it, but your throat hurts more when you do it. It could be strep throat. Again, a reason to have that checked out. Get your throat swabbed, see if it's strep throat. Yeah, the stiff neck thing, you don't want to miss meningitis, where there's an inflammation around the brain, and when you stretch the spine like this, it puts it on stretch and it hurts like heck, so much so that you won't do this. So that's the main thing you don't want to miss.
Freda Weiss donated $5 to the channel.
Thank you, Freda.
Should I worry that my 12-month-old has gained a pound since 5 months? He is 17 pounds. He nurses and eats but won't take cup or bottle. Should I worry that my 12-month-old has gained a pound since 5 months and he's now, yeah.
Well, clearly his weight gain has slowed down, right? Significantly. What happens is, early on, breast milk is alone is sufficient. But after you get past 4 to 6 months, we really need to supplement the feeding with real food. Fat, protein, everything that a healthy human adult even would eat, you can start introducing certainly by a year. So my guess is, for a lot of moms, the actual total milk supply does not keep up with the demand. And so we've got to supplement, a child with more calories. They don't have to be from cow's milk. I know cow's milk is for calves, but somehow you got to get fat and protein and calories increased. But you're not in crisis, I would guess, although I need more information. I can't give specifics, but good luck with that. Keep working on the feeding.
Lisa H. just donated $5 to the channel.
Thank you, Lisa H.
She goes, hello from the Survey of the Health of Wisconsin. I'm listening here at work. My question for you is, what is your outlook on childhood obesity?
Childhood obesity, as most people know, is a terrible epidemic in this country. The problem, I think, is multiple things, but the big thing is endocrine disruption, which is pesticides, herbicides, glyphosate, soy products, plastics. And those things are disrupting the pituitary, disrupting your thyroid, disrupting your adrenal gland, and it's just horrendous for that. And then the other thing is just all the sugar and processed foods which become sugar to the body. You have a huge insulin spike. What does that do? It tells all that glucose in your body to go to fat. So we're eating too much sugar, high fructose corn syrup, and we have way too many pesticides, herbicides, and endocrine disruptors in our world.
Let's go hunting for a question, because now we have some time.
So again, it's my first live feed. I sure appreciate everybody that's been tuning in. This is actually kind of fun. We're going to do this again. We'll try to do this once a week, just so we give you guys an opportunity to throw some questions at good old Dr. Paul here. Remember, my advice has to be in generalities.
Can't treat or
because I
diagnose.
can't treat or diagnose, you know, in an abstract manner like this. This is just informational, educational, and perhaps slightly entertaining at times.
Slightly.
Slightly entertaining.
So for a more entertaining question as opposed to a medical one, Kawasaki 30 would like to know, Dr. Paul, what is your favorite movie?
Oh, favorite movie. I should have a quick answer to that.
Now you can process it for a second.
Yeah, favorite movie. I'm stumped. Oh dear. Was there a movie, The Power of One? No. So I like really uplifting movies that move you. And
You like movies that move?
movies that move you emotionally. And I'm drawing a blank on which one I could say was favorite. And
Boo! Pick an answer.
I'm sorry. You're gonna have to. Huh? Help me out, son. Oh, that was a good movie, but I wouldn't say that's my favorite. No. He's trying to trip me up here with 10. And,
What about Forrest Gump? Did you like Forrest
I
Gump?
loved Forrest Gump.
There we
but
go.
It wasn't, I wouldn't say, yeah, that's right up there.
Right, it
That's
must
a good-
be.
That's a good one.
Let me make sure I didn't miss any people doing donations.
I'm sorry. Dr. Paul.
God, you can answer all these medical questions.
Figure out what your favorite
Can't
movie
answer.
is.
Can't answer one
That's really
regular
funny.
question.
I've watched The Rock a bunch of times, but that's because they bring it on for free, you know, and I'm a cheapskate.
I love The Rock. Okay,
Good
Jenny 1999 simply asked, can you speak German?
No.
Not even one word?
Dankeschön?
Oh,
Yeah. Is that German?
I think so. Kasha for Arizona. Forgive me if I said that wrong. UTI Pain Relief? Question mark?
UTI Pain Relief. Cranberries. Cranberry juice. If you go to a health food store and you ask, or like a Pharmaca we have here in Oregon, a place where they sell natural supplements, there are supplements specifically for that purpose. Sometimes you can take a high-dose probiotic, and that'll do it too.
Eiley, A-I-L-I, Eiley? Ailey? A-I-L-I?
Sounds good.
Eiley Christensen just donated $2 to the channel.
Thank you, Eiley.
Audra Granith asks, besides English, what languages can you speak?
Habla un poquito de español, that would be Spanish. Y Zimbabwe. So I grew up in Zimbabwe and I speak Shona fairly fluently, although it's been since 1972.
You said you do a bit better when someone's actually reciprocating, talking
we're
back and
going
forth.
back and forth, but I understand it 100%. Shona. It's the main language in Zimbabwe. Where I grew up there and left in 1972. So I haven't really spoken Shona since 1972, but it's still there. I used to dream in Shona.
Sorry, wanakirwa.
We used to laugh on that one. So sorry is sorry, and wanakirwa is you deserved it. So it's like somebody just hurt themselves and you say, oh, sorry, and then you say, you deserved it. That's kind of a little joke I used to play on my kids.
Oh, I
You
feel like
still knew that
I
one.
feel like this name is a joke playing on us, but no disrespect if it's a real name, but I'm just gonna try. Vuvuvwevwe, enyetenwevwe,
I'm sure that's a real name.
ombembwe osas.
That's an African name.
Sorry, wasn't trying to be rude. Appreciate your name. What's your favorite disease to treat? Is his question.
Favorite. I'll tell you what really gives me passion is helping people who are suffering the most and having them recover from something that was really, really devastating. So favorite's not quite the right term maybe because I'm treating things that are difficult and not always completely resolved. But I would say autism spectrum, autoimmune conditions, things that people's health is devastated, and yet there are solutions, and a lot of times the mainstream medicine solutions aren't working, so you need an integrative approach. What were you doing over there?
I was giving you light.
Okay, let there be light.
Alex Williams wants to know, what is the most bizarre injuries you've seen in your line of work? Maybe pick one.
Bizarre injuries. That's, you know, a pediatrician, we don't get a lot of bizarre injuries. I've gotten all sorts of things out of ears. or noses. You know, your foreign bodies and noses where you've got beads and bugs and Legos and earrings, but I haven't had crazy injuries. That's more of an ER type doc where you're going to see all that crazy stuff. Boom! I got hands down from my producer.
I'm just kidding. Okay, I thought this is I think this question will answer itself, but Isul asks, why did you move to the U.S.? Why not some other country?
Gotcha. I was born in Portland, Oregon. My parents were missionaries, went to Africa when I was 4, finished high school over there, and I just never thought of going anywhere else because I was originally from the U.S., born in the U.S. We would always visit the U.S. when we were on vacation or what they called furlough. So it never crossed my mind. I mean, I had friends from England. I could have ended up in London. I had friends from New Zealand. I could have gone there as far as knowing other parts of the world. But basically, my life was Africa and the U.S., so it seemed like the place to go.
Hi Yan asks, where do you go for med school states?
Well, I went to Dartmouth Medical School in New Hampshire. I don't know if the question was asking in general where one would go, but there are...
Where did you go?
Oh yeah, that's where I went. Dartmouth Medical School, New Hampshire.
Adrian Miller just says hi.
Hi, Adrian.
Ooh, a question for me.
Question for Big No-No.
Brianna XO asked, did your dad help you in your depersonalization journey? So how about, did you help me in my depersonalization journey, Dad?
Well, it's been an ongoing journey, so I would say yes.
Of course.
One of the things my kids were both blessed with and cursed with was a father who's always pushing the envelope and trying to understand how we can get better when we're suffering from various things. So sometimes they were on the receiving end of an experiment.
I'm going to have to go there. Red Panda, I was bringing up the idea of you just being so supportive, which you are, and nurturing me back to health is all. That's all I meant.
Big No-No says I was supportive. Help nurture him back to health.
They can hear Big No-No.
Oh yeah, you're right there.
Yeah, I'm right here.
He's right there.
Red Panda has a fun question. I'm at the beach. What's your favorite beach?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I knew you'd have...
That one I can tell you. Napili Bay in Maui. I actually like several of the beaches in Maui. I've been to all the islands now pretty much in Hawaii, and that's my favorite place. I live in Oregon, and I like the Oregon coast. It's different. It's not really a beach. The place I like is rocky and rustic, and you know, it's whale watching, and that's Lincoln City to Newport areas. I like to go there, but there's some amazing coastline all the way from tip of Washington all the way down to the tip of California, the whole west coast. I love it. And I've also been on the rugged beaches or shoreline in Maine when I was on the east coast at Dartmouth.
Sorry, we're cruising, guys. We're cruising, trying to find one. Jack Kennedy wants to know, Dr. P, how do you get tiny blackheads out of your nose?
So I think, you know, we're told not to pinch, but you can use those strips and you just try to pull them out. I think that's your best bet.
Yvette Garcia just donated $2 to the channel.
Thank you, Yvette.
She wants us to know that she loves our videos.
Thanks, Yvette. That means a lot.
Khaleesi 00 wants you to know that you're one hot doctor.
Thank you, Khaleesi. Oh, dear.
I couldn't help it, guys. I had to read that one. Harry Biden asked an interesting question. Well, interesting to me, I suppose. Is cracking your joints dangerous?
I don't think it's dangerous. When I was a kid, I cracked these knuckles incessantly for years. They're kind of fat. So, you know, it's a little hard getting that ring past the knuckle. I'm a married man. I just leave it on.
We got a $10 donation from Isra Somariba.
Thank you, Isra.
That's big.
That is big. Appreciate it very much.
She has a question, luckily.
Yes.
What formula amounts should one follow feeding a newborn? What to do about baby acne and dry skin? Oh, smart. She's adding on. Can I remedy a blocked tear duct on my own? And that's the main one. So let's start with the main one. She put in bold. What formula amounts should one follow feeding a newborn?
Okay. So remember day one, they eat very little. They're just stunned. So probably, you know, hopefully they're breastfeeding, at least trying the first few days. But basically, you can take a baby's weight in kilos. So take the baby's weight in pounds divided by 2, just roughly. A 10-pound baby weighs roughly 5 kilos. They can maximum feed 5. So 10-pound baby can take 5 ounces at a time. Usually they won't take that much. It'll be more like 3 or 4. A 16-pound baby divided by 2, they can take up to 8 ounces. They won't take that much. That's a max. So that's how you do it. Whatever they weigh, divide by 2, that's weight in pounds, divided by 2, that's the maximum ounces you would feed them every roughly 2 to 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours, something like that. Very few babies take more than 8 ounces. We had another question that she had put.
And she donated so much. Let's answer it.
Absolutely.
So what do you do about baby acne and dry skin? Also, I need a charger for this thing.
Baby acne, dry skin. Basically, don't worry about it. You know, you can moisturize if you want with natural oils. Anything that you can eat, you can put on the skin. So olive oil, coconut oil, I'm fine with those. I think those would be totally fine. Do you remember what the last question was?
I will find it because she donated $10, and that's how you get prioritized, just by nature of by nature of supporting the channel, which is amazing. Not that everyone's support isn't. Everyone's support matters. Every question matters, but this will make you stand out to us. That's for sure. Can I remedy a blocked tear duct on our own?
Gotcha. So the tear duct runs from the inner corner of the eye down into the nose. And it's quite common in the first year of life, especially the first few weeks and months. If you have a blocked tear duct, this eye will just sort of keep tearing. So the tears are rolling down the cheek, going down there. There's a little more likelihood that you get some eye discharge periodically. So you can take the clean finger in the corner of the eye and rotate it, and you're trying to massage. Make sure you never put pressure on the eyeball. Massage the inner corner of the eye. I'm told that can help. There's absolutely no harm in trying it, okay? But almost always it goes away in the first year.
Jen Kim donated $5 to the channel.
Thank you, Jen Kim.
And she says, I think my 4-year-old has obsessive-compulsive disorder. Everything has to be perfect or he will get very mad. Excuse me, he will get mad. Yeah. Even coloring page, he will color the whole page, not inside the line.
Yeah. So, so many kids today are very, I don't know, could you say sensitive? It's hypersensitive to sound, to touch, to changes in their environment. And so what we need to do for those particular kids, I mean, if you think about it in the extreme, you might have a child with autism spectrum, who can't stand any noise or bright lights, and they have to actually just sort of tune out the environment. But first of all, and this is just my own opinion, and please, this is only what I would do if it was my kid. I'm not telling you how to treat your child. I would stop further vaccinations, because we know that injecting aluminum, for example, it overstimulates the immune system. Autoimmune problems are definitely lots of literature showing aluminum triggers autoimmunity. So that's one thing you can do. Healing the gut biome, what we call your microbiome or the human biome, by taking probiotics, fermented foods. These are all helpful. And sometimes it's certain food sensitivities. When you deal with that, it can help this condition. Gluten is #1 problem with sensitivities. And so getting gluten out of the diet, sometimes it's dairy and eggs as well, this can be very helpful for that sort of condition.
Awesome. Taking the camera. Guys, it's Big No-No. Totally interrupting. I know you didn't come for me. The camera is about to die, so we need to quickly figure out an extension cord to plug this baby in, because I want this to keep going. Stay patient. We will get to your questions, especially those that did the super chat. Thank you. And I'll see if I can keep him occupied while I find an extension cord. So, real quick though, where's an extension cord?
Probably right down there along that side of the bed.
Perfect. We'll figure it out. So let's get to the next question. And okay, so let me double check I didn't miss any super chats. Sorry, guys. Okay, cool. So the next super chat is from Riley Chambers, donated $5.
Thank you, Riley.
He says, M2, taking study break. I'm not sure. Interested in pediatrics. What do you wish you had known about medicine when you were in my shoes? Essentially being a student. He also wants you to know your inspiration. Thank you, Riley.
Okay, so I think you're a medical student in your second year, and let me tell you, I finished in 1985. I started in 1981. That was right when the AIDS epidemic started. I learned all this stuff about HIV and AIDS. I wished I knew what I know now, because it wasn't exactly how we were taught and how it rolled out in the media. You're probably learning all about Ebola, much like I learned, and Zika. Ebola came and went. Zika's the latest thing. And there's more to the story, I guess, is what I would tell you. But when you're in your shoes, you're just drinking from a fire hose, and you don't really usually have time to do your own independent research and find out what's really going on. So what I wish I knew now is that everything I was taught in medical school was it was either what's established, and that means sort of the going paradigm. And what you're not taught is the cutting edge, non-pharmaceutical approach to wellness. So here's the thing. The body heals itself. If you could avoid toxins and get all your nutrients, you would be healthy. And I mean, sure, there's major chromosomal problems, but I wish we were taught more in medical school the miraculous strength of our immune system, and how if we would just avoid toxins and get all our nutrients, we could be healthy. So what we end up being taught in medicine, and you have to learn this, of course, is label and treat. And so we get all the basic science those first 2 years. That's the most difficult time as far as I'm concerned. Hang in there. You only got 1 more year to go. Then you'll hit your clinical. All of a sudden, you're learning how to label and treat, label and treat, label and treat. And it's all pharma-driven. So much of the research is pharma-driven. Back 30 years ago when I was where you were, the pharma had there was a checks and balances on pharma's power, but now they are all powerful and they've infiltrated all the institutions of higher learning. So unfortunately, just be aware of that. Just look for conflicts of interest when you're being taught whatever it is you're being taught. And good luck to you. Medicine's still an amazing career.
All right.
We found the extension cord, so we're going to be able to carry on.
At least for a little longer.
At least for a little longer.
Josh Goodwin, without asking a question, donated $20.
Wow, Josh. Thank you so much. I'm humbled by all the support, and I appreciate this very much.
Taking the camera. Thank you, Josh. It's really, really exciting for us.
That's what you could do when you, because boy, when we first got some big donations, your face just said it all.
So listen to this. I'm gonna say something to make you laugh. I'll give you a question in the meantime. Anna Al-Jalaf asks, what do we do if we have eczema?
Anna. So if you go to mainstream doctors, you're going to get a steroid cream. Let me tell you the solution for eczema. This is an integrative approach. What you do is you figure out what foods you're sensitive to. You get them out of your diet. You take probiotics. You take vitamin D and fish oil, and your eczema goes away. It's amazing. Number one, foods that are triggering eczema in our modern day diet is gluten, number one. Second, it's dairy, and then eggs.
I think this is a really important question to answer, and maybe I've done a poor job of this, and it's important that we reiterate it.
Yeah.
Becca simply says, I'm sorry, I don't have any money to donate.
Oh gosh, Becca, don't worry about that. This is for everybody. This channel is for absolutely everybody. And I think maybe because it's the first time we're doing this particular format, some people who've been appreciative of the channel and maybe have the ability, it doesn't mean that those who don't have money don't appreciate us.
Or that their questions are less important.
Yeah, they're just pouring it in. But if you knew me, I have a servant's heart. I grew up a missionary kid. I went into medicine because I wanted to help people. It isn't about the money at all. Big No-No is trying to support his family, and so obviously there's an income need that's okay. But we're grateful for every question, every viewer, every supporter. Thank you for watching, and thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Yeah.
It's all good.
It's totally all good, and I might just add, the super chat function is very cool, but it's simply a filtration system that YouTube implemented that we have to honor when someone does donate. We have to honor that donation, and we appreciate it, but it doesn't make anyone more important or more worthwhile in any way, shape, or form. I saw that flying through, and I was like, oh, we better...
I gotta deal with that.
We better address that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Cart Moon asks, is being a doctor stressful?
Yeah, you know, digging ditches in 100-degree temperature, now that's stressful. There are times when you're a doctor that it's very stressful, and it also depends on what profession within the doctor world you chose. If you're working in a trauma emergency room, it's just one crisis after another. That's one kind of stress, right? If you're a oncology doctor and you're dealing with patients who are coming in with new cancer diagnosis day after day after day, and patients are dying sometimes, that's a whole different level of emotional stress that in a different way is almost worse, I think. But if it fits with your personality and you know you're giving your best, which is how I try to operate, I don't find it stressful at all. I love my job. I love going to work. And even when the sickest patient comes in or the most devastating condition, I mean, I have new autism patients walk through my door. I have new autoimmune conditions where neurologically they're deteriorating and they can't even walk. And no, that doesn't stress me out. It excites me because I actually have some tools that will make a huge difference for that patient. So it's a mindset.
This is going to give you a smile. It certainly gave me a smile. So Dean Gregory, who was donating earlier,
Yes.
and I freaked out about,
Yeah.
he wanted me to understand, now his third donation, that he's in a different part of the world and that currencies are different.
Okay.
So someone else said, I believe these are in rupees.
Oh,
And
okay.
so it's
Okay.
a couple dollar donation each time,
that's
which is
fine.
amazing.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
now his like third or fourth couple dollar
Right.
donation. So thank you, Dean. And it's super big of him to donate just to get our
Again,
attention,
to
just to
tell
tell
us
us that he wasn't donating. So that's a learning curve for us. I freaked
That's
out. So I
funny.
was like, someone was
Whoa!
donating 200.
It's still cool, and thank you for clarifying for us. We're on a learning curve
Huge.
here. And yeah, no, that's great. It's so cool that we can just reach the entire world, and that one can give whatever they're able to. That's awesome.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought that was funny.
That is funny.
Okay, let's keep this puppy rolling. How you feeling, Dr. Paul?
I'm feeling fine.
Energy levels okay right
Energy's good. You slave driver, you.
now? Okay, let's get caught up.
Yep.
Have we answered a 7-week-old question?
I don't think so.
Okay, so Brittany Taylor donated $5 US American dollars to the
Hi,
channel.
Brittany. Thank you for your donation.
And she has a question.
Yes.
My 7-week-old has woken up with a super stuffy nose for 2 weeks now. Should I take him in? Also, he sneezes about 5 times after he eats. Should I be concerned?
So,
In general.
yeah. So in generality, if you have a baby that's feeding well, acting well, and just has a stuffy nose, I think you're fine just to hang tight. You know, if you have a doctor, you would probably want to call their advice line during the day and just run it by their advice nurse. In case they may get into actual question back and forth and try to determine that there's not a problem. Under the age of 2 months, if your child has a real fever, which is defined as 38.4 centigrade or 38.2 centigrade or 100.6 Fahrenheit, 38.2 centigrade, under 2 months of age, rectal temperature, you need to be seen. There's a sort of an absolute cutoff where under that age group, fever is a big deal. After 2 months, fever is not a big deal if your child looks great. And looks great means they're alert, they're feeding well, they look good, they're energetic, they don't have any scary looking rashes. But when in doubt, call your doctor.
I was about to say, this is an approved Dr. Paul message. In general, this is not meant to treat or diagnose. Always consult your doctor. This is general information, and this is me covering our behinds. Thank you for the question.
He does a good job. If you go to his channel, though,
Oh, Lord.
his last video that just went up, I think today, he's not covering his behind very well. Well, it's covered, but it's... Okay. That's big no-no. BIGNOKNOW.
Look at Dad giving me the plug.
That's right.
Oh, Lord.
This guy he's very, how can we say it?
Open?
Yeah, open, anything goes. Sometimes the language is not exactly PG. So, yeah, be aware of that. You're not going to take your young kids to that one.
Josh Goodwin, $5 donation.
Thank you, Josh.
He has a question we kind of just covered, but we'll give his question extra attention.
Yes.
What is the best way to cure my 4-year-old son's eczema?
eczema. Right off the bat, get gluten and dairy out of the diet. If you have access to food sensitivity testing, this measures IgG. Most MDs will tell you IgG food sensitivity testing is garbage, don't do it, it's been proven to be blah, blah, blah. They're wrong. Plain and simple. I get hundreds of kids with eczema. Many of them have already been to all the specialists, the dermatologists, the allergists, and they're just pouring on steroid creams. And as soon as we identify the food sensitivities, get those out of the diet, almost every single time they get better. So if you don't have access to food sensitivity testing, get gluten and dairy out of the diet. That'll probably do it. The next most common food that causes problem is eggs. Probiotics, fish oil, vitamin D are also good.
Molly D asks, can we say hi to Nurse Steph?
Nurse Steph?
I think she's probably referring.
Nurse Steph went on mission to Africa. We're talking to our nurse practitioner, Steph.
I'm assuming so.
You can say hi, because who knows? She's probably going to watch this. Steph, make sure you watch this. And I hope you're doing well in Africa. Miss her a lot.
BF4F just donated $1 to the channel.
Thank you, BF4F.
Hallie, probably Haley, but Hallie Miller asks, Dr. Paul, is heart disease and diabetes always hereditary?
What we have that's hereditary with regards to diabetes, heart disease, and so many diagnoses that people end up with is a genetic predisposition. In my family, we have a predisposition for high cholesterol, and not that cholesterol is the end-all of heart disease. It's much more complicated than that, but that puts me at slightly higher risk. I have the MTHFR defect. That's a single nucleotide polymorphism that puts me at greater risk. But even if you have greater risk, if you do a really meticulous job of eating healthy, real food, avoiding toxins, getting your nutrients, you never have to have those problems. So while it seems random that people get heart disease or diabetes, it isn't as random as you might think. Diabetes type 1 is an autoimmune destruction of the islet cells of the pancreas. That one is a little trickier because we haven't yet figured out why it happens. But I still believe there's an autoimmune process, and if we catch it early or we do things to avoid autoimmunity, we should be much less risk of having it happen.
Angela Clegg asks, have you heard of Dunlap syndrome?
Dunlap syndrome. You got me there. I might have heard of it, but it's not coming to the crystal front of my brain.
Master Wolf Gaming asks, my friend has a couple warts that have been there for about 3 years. What should he do? The Dr. Scholl's freeze didn't help.
Gotcha. So the persistent difficult wart, remember it's a virus. The key with warts is creating some irritation of the normal tissue around the wart. Whether you do that with a home remedy and covering it with duct tape, or whether you go into a doctor who does a freeze, and there are the ability now to buy these freeze guns that you can do for yourself. Freeze just the wart, but freeze it deep enough to get at least 1 millimeter of frozen normal skin around it. Do that about once every 3 to 4 weeks until it's gone. Sometimes it takes about 3, 4, 5, 6 treatments to get it to go away.
Someone made a comment that I kind of like.
Here comes a comment we like.
So this is just a comment, not even a question, more of a statement. I'm curious to know what you think. So Tall Ken, CHIT, says preventative medicine is best.
Absolutely. So here's the deal. We had the question about heart disease. You're born with risk factors, and you get heart disease when you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. That's decades later. What happened? You had a lifetime of lifestyle choices that either put you at greater and greater risk of heart disease or less and less risk. And so yes, absolutely.
One second.
While he's looking, the biggest important lifestyle thing is what you eat. I know it's been said before, but we've got to eat real food, and we've got to try to eat organic. The amount of pesticides and herbicides getting into our food chain is a real problem for health.
Live Life for Joy 46 says
I
hugs.
like it. Hugs back at you, Live Life for Joy.
Iris Herman says, hi, you are so nice.
Thanks, Iris.
One moment, please.
So while he's looking for comments, I'm staring out my back window at a garden that I planted this year with some kale that's almost 2 feet tall. It's time to go cut that and cook it up. Probably do that tonight. But that's something you can do too. If you have any little plot of land where you can put in some good soil and grow a vegetable garden, do it.
So Ceylon Man asks, can you give me any suggestions for a book for my girlfriend who's going into pediatrics? Book suggestions for his girlfriend who's going into pediatrics.
The vaccine-friendly plan. So
okay, do you have a copy? You should
think so.
You should plug that.
It's I see a copy.
Grab it.
All right. So I saw a copy. Here it is. I wrote this book.
Gotta promote.
Yep. The reason this is important for somebody going into pediatrics is pediatricians, without really thinking it through. Sorry, pediatricians. I'm going to speak the truth here.
Don't go too crazy.
Don't go too crazy. But there are safer ways to vaccinate and not leave your children at risk for the diseases that are potentially preventable by vaccines, but minimizing the toxins that you're injecting. So, read the book.
Jessica.jyy donated $2 to the channel.
Thank you, Jessica.
And she says, tips for producing more breast milk?
The breast milk production issue. Eat enough. If you're undernourished, if you're in starvation mode, your body thinks you're in starvation, like you're losing weight too fast early in that after delivering, milk gets shut down. So make sure you're just eating like crazy initially till you get your milk established. Secondly, you got to drink a ton. I mean, a lot of fluids. You're drinking for yourself and for the baby. All that milk, that's fluids you've lost. And finally, you need a lot of stimulation. If the baby's not latching well, you should nurse, pump. So that you, after the baby's nursed what they can, you're pumping off what might be left. Also, you're giving some extra stimulation. Those would be the big things. I highly recommend lactation consultants if you're having latch issues, because poor latch is poor stimulation, and all the way around it's causing a vicious cycle of not getting enough milk and etc.
All right. Let's see. Dr. Paul, what is your favorite book from artist Georgia Vlogs?
My favorite book...
You should plug yourself again.
I should. Oh, yeah, the vaccine-friendly plan. Oh, that's funny.
So aside from the awesome book you wrote...
Oh, my goodness.
And you read a ton
I read a ton. It totally changes, because Dissolving Illusions from Suzanne Humphries, when I was in this studying the vaccine whole history, that was a great one. But, you know, How to Prevent Autism, I just read that this week. Amazing book by a mom who wanted to share her journey. But they're not just all about autism. Sometimes I'm into something that's a little more spiritual, and I just like it. It reaches me. Yeah, I can't lock on one book. I love to read, and now I love to write. So there'll be a new one coming out on addiction next year.
So Flash Dawn X2 asks, how do you treat scoliosis? I need some help.
Scoliosis is really a tricky one. The medical community says you just track it, and then when your spine is over 30-45% degrees, so not percent, when you have a curvature that exceeds 30-45%, you go in and the orthopedics put you in a brace. I think there's a lot more preventative work that can be done, and the best work is being done by people who are doing body work, whether it's a deep tissue massage person who knows what they're doing, or chiropractic. There are some techniques that can potentially reduce or even prevent scoliosis.
Hannah Thorson just has a fun question, and it's, what's your favorite thing to do?
Favorite thing to do is ride my motorcycle and curvy roads. It's just, for me, that's freedom. Also snorkeling with the turtles in Maui. I just really, really feel at peace in those two environments.
So about a mother who's been faithfully asking questions, because I keep seeing her name, so let's give her a moment.
Yes.
And you can answer this however you wish, obviously. What are your tools for helping kids with autism?
So number one, no more vaccines. Number two, identify food sensitivities. If you haven't done it, you've got to do at least 3 months of absolutely no cheating, gluten-free diet. Number 3, we have to heal the gut. And that may involve amazing amounts of probiotics and fermented foods. It definitely is going to involve removing foods that might be causing an immune sensitivity. And then it's supplementing nutritional deficiencies. I don't know if the question was related to how do you support a child. Kids who are they're very overstimulated with noise, for example, you can wear the noise canceling headphones, and I've seen that make a huge difference. Sometimes older kids who are nonverbal can actually communicate with a board where they spell out the words. I get goosebumps thinking of this kid in my practice. He was severely autistic, no language, and the mom comes and says, he can write poetry. I'm going, what? You know, he's like, at that point, around 10 maybe, and she brings just an alphabet board, A, B, C, D, like that. And he panicked that time, and he wouldn't do it, so I was left going, oh, I wonder if that's really real. Well, she came back another day, and she said, ask him any question. And I said, well, how does it feel not being able to talk? And he typed out, it really is hard, and it hurts my heart not to be able to tell you how I feel. I was like, oh my God, spelt it out perfectly. Mom wasn't touching his hands. Unbelievable. So, I mean, there's so much we need to do.
Paul Prophet has been commenting relatively aggressively. I can't say in our favor. I'm going to give you one crack to respond to him.
Sure.
Because he hasn't been vulgar, but he's being aggressive.
Yeah.
Paul Prophet says you're a vaccine promoter.
I'm a vaccine promoter?
And he's just, before I block him.
Vaccine promoter. Oh, you need to read my book, and you need to realize that this book was written for people who want to follow the CDC schedule and think that vaccines are safe and effective, period. You sound like you might be anti-vaccine.
Yeah, he says slow vaccine is child abuse.
Yeah, so you're completely anti-vaccine. I totally get that. But do you have anybody in your world, somebody you know that you care about, who won't listen to you? Because they've put you in that box where you're anti-vaccine. This book is written to take people who are so pro-vaccine that they can't see anything and help them just start thinking. Because you see, the thing is, once you start thinking, you start questioning all the vaccines, and then pretty soon you're like, why would I do any? That's the question we want them to ask. If you were to ask me today, when this guy behind the camera has his first baby, because he has risk factors. Actually, everybody has risk factors, but he has a ton of them. Would I want him to give his baby, my grandson, any vaccines? Heck no. Okay? So am I promoting vaccines?
Just depends. Everyone has their own individual.
Right? Yeah. It depends.
Okay, that's the last one we'll answer from him. Let's go to something nice.
Something nice.
David Hirado says, you are my inspiration. I want to be in pediatrics because of you. I love your vids.
Oh, thank you. Pediatrics, as long as you love kids, it's a dream. It's a dream profession. I wouldn't choose any other.
All right.
I get to have fun all day long. You know, when you walk into a room and you see a kid and you smile at them, they almost always smile back. It's like amazing.
So we're coming up on the 1 hour marker, Doc.
Yes.
How much longer do you want to do this?
I think we ought to keep it at an hour so we can do it again and not feel stressed about it.
All right, we got a 5-minute window, guys. 5 minutes. If you have any burning questions you want us to try to get to, let's get into it. 5-minute countdown right now. Sing just says, Dr. Paul, I'm a big fan of your videos. Love how much you care for children.
Thank you very much.
So Lexi Tornator asks, is tinnitus a sign of hearing loss?
Tinnitus is that ringing in the ear, and no, I would say it's not a sign of hearing loss. There's various reasons it could happen, but I don't think it's necessarily associated very closely with hearing loss.
Happy Ian asks, Dr. Paul, how do you suggest treating kidney stones?
Oh, kidney stones. I, as a pediatrician, don't treat kidney stones, so I shouldn't really be giving technical advice on that, but I would definitely research diet and how it might be related to kidney stones so you can avoid getting them in the future.
Nick XOF is just asking, how's your day?
My day's going great. And, you know, this is my partner behind the camera here who's making all this happen, and a big thumbs up for Big No-No. You know, anytime I'm around this guy, I'm just uplifted, so yeah, I'm having a great day.
It's right back at you, Dad. Right back at you, Dad.
Right back at you.
Red Panda says, I'm so scared of the doctor.
I don't blame you. You should be. So, here's the deal. You get what you pay for? No, that's not what I meant to say. You're going to get what you ought to expect to get when you see the type of doctor that you see, right? So if you go to your standard pediatrician with your regular kids, you're going to get the standard recommendations, and you can look those up, and they're going to stand by those because that's their training. If you go to an integrative doctor, you're going to get a different set of options, right? When you're sent to a specialist, you're going to get what the specialist knows and what their little area is. So, educate yourself. Be informed. Be a good consumer.
Paul Billups asks, why do I have random sharp body pains for no reason sometimes?
Random sharp body pains. I don't know. That's a big question. I would say check your vitamin D status, or just, if you're an adult, take 5,000 IUs a day. I mean, that's what I do. Obviously, your doctor's going to say that's way too much. Just take 1,000. But check your vitamin D status. Sometimes just fixing that can help.
Do you ever get grossed out from Landry Carba?
Not really. I've been around some gross stuff. Vomit, puke, pus, blood, of course. Tons of earwax. You guys know that. Not really. I think when I was in medical school, oh, absolutely. The first time you walk into the gross anatomy and cadavers everywhere, that was mind-blowing. And I've certainly been in some situations where there's tissue necrosis. When body tissue is dying, there's a smell that it's like, oof, that's gross.
Let's answer one more question.
All right, folks.
Let's find a good last question. They're coming in hot. Why not? We'll end on an infant question. Oh, Suzanne FedEx says, hi from Germany. You remind me of Patch Adams.
Thanks, Suzanne.
The last medical question we'll do, guys, is from John Brabant. He asked, what's the best cream to treat diaper dermatitis?
So diaper dermatitis, there's one key thing to be aware of. You need to figure out if it's just the skin being burned from the poop and the pee, or is it a yeast infection, because the treatment's totally different. So yeast, which is a fungus, likes moist areas, and you will see the rash is worse in the creases. So the butt crack, the thigh cracks, that's where it's going to be worse. Sometimes with little red spots around the edges, they call those satellite lesions. If it's a yeast rash like that, you use antifungal creams. I would get a couple different active ingredient antifungal creams and alternate them every diaper change. But for your run-of-the-mill diaper rash, almost any good barrier cream will do. I tend to find that the ones that are white, they have that zinc oxide in them, work the best. So pick yourself a diaper cream and smear it on like frosting every diaper change, so it's protecting the skin from the poop and pee, and allow it to heal. You got something you want to answer.
So I don't necessarily want to answer, but I'm not going to lie, Doc. There is quite the outcry of people saying, don't go just yet.
So what's the question?
There's just a million people saying don't go.
Don't go? So look, we're going to do this again.
You're back on. You're back on.
I'm back on?
Oh, I flipped it to myself.
Oh, we're going to do this again, probably weekly. Probably it's going to be on a Thursday to Sunday because my Monday to Wednesday is super busy.
So be on the lookout.
Be on the lookout Thursdays through Sundays. It's going to happen again. And obviously, what's that thing where you can get your question to the top?
Chat.
Super chat. Just familiarize yourself with Super Chat so you can get your questions answered if we're just spinning too fast and you can't seem to get it answered. How many questions do you think came today?
Oh my gosh. I have
like hundreds?
Hundreds and hundreds.
Yeah.
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of questions.
Because I saw you just going like this and like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we would obviously like to answer everybody's questions. We do appreciate every single one of you who's tuned in, because you don't know what I'm going to say, and I could be crazy for all you know. This is Dr. Paul and Big No-No, and come over here, son. Let's tell these folks how much we appreciate them.
We really do. We really do. This is something that means a whole lot to us. We know that we're lucky to have you guys as viewers. It's not a guarantee. It's not a promise. We don't deserve this. We just get to be a part of it. And
And I'm just glad that I get to be his son, his producer. I'm glad you guys are here. Thank you all for watching.
Thanks for watching. This was fun. We're going to do it again.
We'll do it again. We'll try to do this at least once a week, like you said, and we'll get better at hosting them. I think we'll get a little more streamed. We'll streamline it a little faster. So thanks for joining us for our very first super chat. And now let's put Dr. Thomas to sleep. Go to sleep.
Blump.
You did good. Okay. Wait, let's make sure no one super chatted while we were doing that. Just so.
Just in case. He's checking for super chats, just in case we don't want to abandon our super chatters.
Someone happened to super chat at the last second.
All right.
All right, we are signing out. 3, 2, 1.
Thank you.